So I'm not a big fan of the large-scale, step-by-step, industrial-sized redstone machines. Frankly, I'm not a big fan of buggy assembly code either, but I've recently been in need of some kelp blocks, and I wanted to share a compact little design I've come up with. And rather than just show how it's done with very little explanation, I prefer to give the idea of why it works the way it does, because I believe it's built entirely on actually intended redstone behavior. It does seem consistent between both versions of the game, so you can reproduce it in both versions. The only difference I've noticed is the amount of items that get transferred, but it's very little to actually worry about. You will need your smoker of choice with a hopper going into a crafter, which goes back into the furnace. Now, in order to make a surplus of the block, we need to bottleneck how much kelp can go in. So by getting a reading from a comparator in subtract mode and comparing it to a composter at level 2, something less than half a stack of items should not go into the smoker. Anything above that will trickle into the smoker. This signal needs to be extended with a repeater and sent into an observer. This observer will be powering a bulb which needs to be on by default, as to make sure that the hopper is locked by default. If you're worried about items not going in, don't worry, you can just add another hopper on top, and that will inject it in by force. Now once you have an item about a stack, it will be locked in, but anything above that stack, and it will start to go into the smoker, and you will get around 19 items here. Then, as the smoker cooks and kelp is placed into the crafter, you will need to get a reading from that in subtract mode and compare it to a composter at full level, which should then be extended via repeater, sent back to the side of the crafter into a target block, which redirects the signal, and that should force it to make a block every time all 9 slots are filled, which go into the hopper that points back into the smoker. And the cycle continues, and that's about it. This is pretty compact and tiny from what I know, and original by my design. If anyone has made anything similar, I am not aware, but please tell me so I can just scream into the void for having figured it out myself.
Hey, subscribe if you like, hit the like button, and ring the